In the shadows of history, truths are hidden that challenge our understanding of the world. I am Dr. Alejandro Vega, and today, my dear truth seekers, we will delve into a labyrinth of biblical myths and legends that have endured for millennia. But what if I told you that these tales are not mere fantasies, but windows to hidden realities that could change everything we think we know? Imagine for a moment what would happen if we discovered that the Holy Grail is not just a cup, but the key to a sacred lineage that has influenced the course of human history from the shadows. And what if the story of Noah and the Great Flood was actually a coded account of an advanced civilization lost in the depths of time? But that's not all. What secrets would the lost tribes of Israel reveal if we could trace their true destiny? Might their descendants walk among us, unaware of their heritage? And as we contemplate these enigmas, let me pose an even more unsettling question. What if the story of the Tower of Babel is not a myth about human arrogance, but a distorted memory of an attempt at interdimensional communication? These myths, these legends that we have relegated to the realm of fantasy, could be the pieces of a cosmic puzzle that we are only just beginning to comprehend. On this journey, we will unearth evidence that has been hidden, connect dots that no one has dared to unite, and challenge the narratives that have been imposed on us. Prepare to question everything you thought you knew. Because today, my dear truth seekers, we will dive into the murky waters of 5 biblical myths that conceal astonishing truths that could rewrite our understanding of the past and perhaps illuminate the path to our future. The question is, are you ready to see beyond the veil? To challenge the established and venture into forbidden territories of knowledge? Because once we cross this threshold, there is no turning back. The truth, as always, is hidden in plain sight. And today, together, we dare to look. Welcome to a journey that promises to shake the foundations of your reality. Welcome to Conspiracies in Christian History, where biblical myths and legends still resonate with echoes of forgotten truths. Fasten your seatbelts, my brave companions on this quest. We are about to plunge into the depths of mysteries that have intrigued humanity for millennia. Before we dive into the depths of these biblical myths that have endured through the ages, it is crucial that we understand the terrain we are navigating. History, my dear truth seekers, is not a straight line, but an intricate tapestry woven with threads of facts, legends, and yes, conspiracies. Since the dawn of civilization, humans have sought to explain their existence and their place in the cosmos. The stories we now call myths and legends did not arise from nowhere. They are the result of collective experiences, ancestral wisdom, and in many cases real events that have been distorted by the passage of time and the agendas of those in power. The Bible, that sacred text that has shaped entire civilizations, is much more than a mere religious book. It is a compendium of history, poetry, prophecy, and as we are about to discover, hidden codes that could reveal astonishing truths about our past and our fate. But why have these myths persisted so strongly? What is it about them that resonates so deeply in the human soul? The answer, my friends, might be more surprising than you imagine. Take, for example, the legend of the Holy Grail. For many, it is simply the cup used by Jesus at the Last Supper. But what if I told you that this legend is just the tip of the iceberg? Behind this myth lies an intricate web of secret societies, hidden lineages, and esoteric knowledge that has influenced the course of Western history for centuries. The Knights Templar, that order of warrior monks that arose during the Crusades, were not mere soldiers of the faith. They were guardians of a secret so powerful that it threatened to shake the very foundations of the Church. And although the order was officially dissolved in 1312, its legacy and secrets endure to this day, hidden in plain sight in symbols, architecture, and rituals that surround us. But the Holy Grail is just the beginning. Could the story of the Great Flood, present not only in the Bible but in cultures around the world, be the distorted memory of a global cataclysm that changed the course of human civilization? Geological and archaeological evidence suggests that there were indeed catastrophic floods at the end of the last ice age. But what if these floods not only destroyed, but also concealed the remnants of an advanced civilization that existed before recorded history? The legend of Atlantis, first described by Plato, has captivated human imagination for millennia. But what if it wasn't mere fantasy? What if Noah's story was actually a coded account of the fall of this lost civilization? My dear truth seekers, these myths and legends are not mere stories for entertainment. They are pieces of a cosmic puzzle, fragments of a greater truth that has been fragmented and obscured over time. The lost tribes of Israel, Lilith, the supposed first wife of Adam, the Tower of Babel. Each of these myths contains layers of meaning that go far beyond their superficial interpretation. They are portals to ancient knowledge that could revolutionize our understanding of the world and our place in it. As we proceed on our journey of discovery, I ask you to keep your minds open. Question everything, even what I tell you. Because the truth, my friends, is not something that is given to us. It is something we must actively seek, unearth from the layers of deceit and misinformation that have kept it hidden for so long. We are about to embark on a journey that will challenge your beliefs, expand your horizons, and hopefully inspire you to continue seeking the truth long after this video has ended. Because true power does not reside in knowledge itself, but in the constant pursuit of that knowledge. Prepare yourselves, my brave companions, because we are about to lift the veil and look directly into the eyes of some of the deepest mysteries of human history. The truth is out there, waiting to be discovered, and together we dare to seek it. My dear truth seekers, the time has come to dive into the depths of our first biblical myth, the legend of the Holy Grail. This is not a simple cup, as we have been led to believe for centuries. No, the Grail is much more. It is a symbol, an enigma, and possibly the key to a sacred lineage that has influenced the course of human history from the shadows. Let's begin with what everyone thinks they know according to Christian tradition. The Holy Grail is the cup used by Jesus at the Last Supper. But what if this interpretation was just a smokescreen to conceal a much deeper and potentially dangerous truth? Allow me to introduce a controversial theory. The Holy Grail is not a physical object, but a metaphor for the bloodline of Jesus. Yes, you heard correctly. There is evidence suggesting that Jesus not only survived the crucifixion, but also had descendants, creating a lineage that has endured to this day. Does this seem far-fetched? Consider the facts. The Gnostic Gospels, ancient texts that were excluded from the canonical Bible, speak of a special relationship between Jesus and Mary Magdalene. The Gospel of Philip even refers to her as Jesus' companion, a term that in ancient Aramaic could translate to wife. The sudden disappearance of Mary Magdalene from biblical records after the crucifixion. Why does such a prominent figure in Jesus' life suddenly vanish from the narrative? Could it be that she was protected, hidden, because she carried Jesus' child? The existence of the Knights Templar, an order of warrior monks that emerged during the Crusades. What was their true mission? Historical records suggest they spent years excavating beneath Solomon's temple in Jerusalem. What were they so desperately searching for? Now, let's connect the dots. The Templars, in their quest, might have discovered evidence of this sacred lineage. This knowledge would have granted them immense power and influence over the church and the kingdoms of Europe that would explain their rapid rise and equally swift fall. But the story doesn't end with the dissolution of the Templars in 1312. Their secrets survived, passed down through secret societies that have endured to this day. The Priory of Sion, the Rosicrucians, even certain branches of Freemasonry, all these organizations could be heirs to Templar knowledge. And what about the physical evidence? This is where things get really interesting: the Church of Rennes-le-Château in France. In the 1890s, the parish priest Béranger Saunière discovered something during church renovations that led him from poverty to inexplicable wealth. What did he find? Documents proving the existence of the sacred lineage, the mysterious Voynich manuscript, a 15th century text written in a code that has yet to be deciphered. Some experts believe it may contain alchemical secrets related to the Grail and Jesus bloodline. Leonardo da Vinci's paintings, especially the Last Supper. Have you noticed that the figure to Jesus' right appears feminine? Many believe it is Mary Magdalene, placed in a position of honor that suggests a much deeper relationship than that of teacher and disciple. But, my dear truth seekers, the importance of this lineage goes beyond mere historical curiosity. If it exists, its implications would be profound. It would challenge the very foundations of traditional Christianity, questioning the divinity of Jesus and the authority of the Church. It could explain certain inexplicable historical events, such as the survival of certain European royal families through wars and revolutions. It would raise fascinating questions about genetics and the possibility that certain individuals today might literally carry the blood of Jesus in their veins. Now, I know what you're thinking. Dr. Vega, this sounds like fiction, like a Dan Brown novel. And you're right to be skeptical. But I ask you to consider this: throughout history, truth has often been stranger than fiction, and the deepest, most dangerous truths are those hidden in plain sight, disguised as myths and legends. Let's consider for a moment the broader implications of this theory. If there is a sacred lineage, who are its guardians today? Are they among us, silently influencing world events? Is it possible that certain powerful families, certain world leaders, are aware of their connection to this lineage? And if so, what does this mean for the future of humanity? Are we being guided unknowingly by a divine plan that has been unfolding for millennia? But let's go even further. What if the Holy Grail, this sacred lineage, is not just a matter of blood, but of knowledge? What if the descendants of Jesus were the guardians of esoteric teachings, of ancient wisdom that could transform our understanding of the universe and our place within it? There are ancient texts, like the Gospel of Thomas, that suggest Jesus shared secret teachings with his closest disciples. Could these teachings have been passed down through generations, hidden in symbols and rituals that we still do not fully understand today? Think about the great scientific and philosophical advances in history: the Renaissance, the Enlightenment, even the modern technological revolution. Could these leaps in human knowledge be somehow connected to the subtle influence of this sacred lineage? My dear truth seekers, I ask you to contemplate these questions. I do not ask you to blindly accept this theory, but to consider it, to examine it with an open mind and a critical spirit. Because in the end, the quest for the Holy Grail, whether it is a cup, a lineage, or secret knowledge, is really a quest for ourselves. It is a journey toward understanding our place in the cosmos, our potential as human beings. And perhaps, just perhaps, by unraveling this mystery, we might discover that the divine is not something external to us, but a spark we carry within. A spark that, if cultivated and understood correctly, could illuminate the path to a future we cannot even imagine. As we reflect on these astonishing revelations, let us prepare to dive even deeper into the mysteries that await us. For this is only the beginning of our journey, my brave companions. And I promise you that the truths we are about to uncover will shake the very foundations of your reality. My intrepid truth seekers, we have only scratched the surface of the mysteries that await us. The revelation of the Holy Grail as a possible sacred lineage is just the tip of the iceberg in this vast ocean of hidden knowledge. But before we plunge into our next enigma, let me pose a disturbing question. What if I told you that all the myths we are exploring today are interconnected in a way that challenges our understanding of reality itself? Imagine for a moment a cosmic tapestry woven with threads of truth that stretch across time and space. Each myth, each legend is a node in this intricate web of knowledge. The Holy Grail, Atlantis, the lost tribes of Israel. What if all these mysteries were pieces of a much larger puzzle? Consider this. What connection might exist between the sacred lineage we've discussed and the legend of Atlantis? Could the Atlanteans have been the original guardians of this divine knowledge? And if the flood that destroyed their civilization were the same flood spoken of in the Bible? But let's go even further. The lost tribes of Israel, those enigmatic groups that vanished from known history. What if they didn't disappear at all? What if we discovered that they dispersed across the world, carrying with them fragments of ancient knowledge that have influenced cultures globally? And here is where things become truly fascinating. The Tower of Babel, that symbol of human arrogance and linguistic confusion. What if it was actually a metaphor for lost knowledge? An attempt by our ancestors to communicate with other dimensions or even beings from other worlds. My dear companions on this quest, we are about to venture into territories that will challenge everything you thought you knew about history, religion, and the very nature of reality. The revelations to come will not only change your understanding of the past, but also shed an entirely new light on our present and future. Prepare to question everything. Prepare to see connections where you previously saw chaos. Because in the upcoming revelations, we will discover that the truth is stranger, more beautiful, and more terrifying than we ever imagined. The question is, are you ready to take the next step in this journey into the unknown? Are you prepared to face truths that could shake the very foundations of your reality? Take a deep breath, my brave seekers, for we are about to dive into the turbulent waters of mysteries that have intrigued humanity for millennia. And I promise you, what we are about to discover will forever change the way you see the world. My dear truth seekers, we have reached a crucial point in our journey. Before we dive into the next astonishing revelations, let me pause to speak directly to you, the brave ones who have dared to question the established narrative. You are not mere spectators in this journey. You are an integral part of a growing community of inquisitive minds that refuse to accept half-truths and superficial explanations that have been served to us for centuries. Together, we are unraveling the deepest mysteries of our existence. That is why I ask you to join our community more actively. If you haven't already, now is the perfect time to subscribe to our channel. By doing so, you will not only receive notifications about new videos, but you will also become part of a global network of truth seekers. But don't stop there. I invite you to actively participate in the comments. Share your theories, your questions, your own experiences. Have you had personal encounters with any of the mysteries we've discussed? Do you have additional information that could shed light on these enigmas? Your unique perspective could be the missing piece of the puzzle we are all trying to solve. And for those of you who feel this is just the tip of the iceberg, you're right. There is much more to discover. I invite you to visit our website, where you will find additional resources, in-depth articles, and discussion forums where you can connect with other truth seekers from around the world. Remember, knowledge is power, but shared knowledge is power multiplied. Each of you has a crucial role to play in this quest for truth. Together, we can lift the veil of ignorance and reveal the hidden truths that have shaped our history and will determine our future. So, my brave companions, are you ready to delve even deeper? To challenge the established and venture into unexplored territories of knowledge? Join our community, make your voice heard, and prepare for the astounding revelations that are to come. The truth is out there, waiting to be discovered. And together, we dare to seek it. Are you with us? My intrepid truth seekers, having explored the mysteries of the Holy Grail, it is time to dive into another enigma that has fascinated humanity. For millennia, the legend of Atlantis and its surprising connection to the biblical flood. Prepare yourselves, because what we are about to reveal will challenge everything you thought you knew about ancient history and the origin of civilization. Atlantis, first described by the Greek philosopher Plato, has long been considered a myth, a parable about the arrogance and downfall of civilizations. But what if I told you that there is evidence suggesting that Atlantis not only existed, but that its destruction could be the event that inspired the story of the Great Flood in the Bible and in other cultures around the world? Let's begin with the facts. Plato described Atlantis as an island continent beyond the Pillars of Hercules, the present-day Strait of Gibraltar, with an advanced civilization that existed about 9,000 years before his time. The story of the flood appears in numerous cultures around the world, from the biblical account of Noah to the Sumerian Gilgamesh and the Hindu Matsya Purana. Geologists have found evidence of a dramatic rise in sea levels at the end of the last ice age, approximately 11,600 years ago. Now let's connect these dots. The date marking the end of the last ice age aligns remarkably with the date Plato gives for the destruction of Atlantis. Coincidence? I think not. Consider the possibility that Atlantis was an advanced civilization, existing during the last ice age when sea levels were much lower. Imagine a society that had developed technology and knowledge that rivaled or even surpassed our own. Does this seem far-fetched? Think about this: the pyramids of Giza, constructed with precision that challenges our abilities even today. Could they be remnants of Atlantean technology? The Piri Reis map, a 16th century map showing the coast of Antarctica with surprising accuracy before it was covered in ice. How is this possible unless a civilization existed capable of mapping the world over 12,000 years ago? Submerged structures off the coast of Cuba and in the Bermuda Triangle formations that appear artificial, discovered at depths that would have been above sea level during the last ice age. But the evidence doesn't stop there. Consider the myth of the universal flood. What if this wasn't a global event, but the traumatic memory of the flooding of vast low-lying areas at the end of the ice age? The melting glaciers would have caused a catastrophic rise in sea levels, flooding coastal cities and lowlands within generations. Now, imagine the survivors of this catastrophe, the Atlanteans, dispersing worldwide, carrying fragments of their advanced knowledge. Could this explain the inexplicable leaps in the development of ancient civilizations like Egypt, Sumeria, and the Indus Valley culture? But let's go even further. What if Atlantis was not only an advanced civilization, but the home of a race of hybrid beings, the result of interaction between humans and a superior intelligence? This could explain the numerous legends of gods or demigods found in ancient cultures worldwide. Consider the Book of Enoch, an apocryphal text that speaks of the Watchers, celestial beings who mated with humans and taught them advanced knowledge. Could these Watchers actually be Atlanteans and their knowledge, the advanced technology of the time? This theory could shed light on many ancient mysteries. The construction of megaliths show, did our ancestors move and precisely place stone blocks, weighing hundreds of tons? Atlantean technology. The advanced astronomical knowledge of ancient culture showed, did the Maya predict eclipses with such accuracy? Atlantean heritage. The similarities between pyramids in different parts of the world, coincidence or the result of shared knowledge originating from Atlantis? But the implications of this theory go far beyond archaeology and ancient history. If Atlantis existed and was destroyed by a natural cataclysm, what does this tell us about our own future? Are we destined to repeat their fate? Consider current climate change. Could we be on the brink of another deluge, not necessarily of water, but of catastrophic environmental changes? What if the Atlanteans also faced a climate crisis and could not prevent their destruction? But there is hope in this knowledge. If the Atlanteans survived and spread their wisdom, could part of that knowledge still exist, hidden in ancient texts, esoteric rituals, or even in our own DNA? Could this knowledge be the key to facing the challenges that await us? My dear truth seekers, I ask you to consider these questions. What if we could access the lost knowledge of Atlantis? How would it change our understanding of history, science, and our place in the universe? If Atlantis was destroyed by a natural cataclysm, what lessons can we learn to avoid a similar fate? Could some anomalies in our technological development, such as the sudden appearance of agriculture or metallurgy, be explained by the influence of Atlantean survivors? If there was a race of hybrid beings in Atlantis, could some of their descendants walk among us today? Could this explain the stories of individuals with superhuman abilities throughout history? These questions may seem drawn from science fiction, but I remind you that throughout history, truth has often proven stranger than fiction. And it is our responsibility, as seekers of truth, to question, investigate, and remain open to possibilities that challenge our established beliefs. The legend of Atlantis and its connection to the biblical flood are not just stories of the past. They are mirrors in which we can see our own challenges and potentials reflected. They remind us that civilization is fragile, that knowledge can be lost, but also that humanity has an incredible capacity for resilience and reinvention. As we reflect on these astonishing revelations, I urge you to keep your minds open and your spirits inquisitive. For in the quest for the truth about Atlantis and the flood, we might find not only answers about our past, but also vital keys for our future. And remember, my brave companions in this quest, that the truth is always there, waiting to be discovered by those who dare to look beyond the apparent. Together, we will continue unraveling the mysteries that have shaped our history and that could determine our destiny. My dear truth seekers, we have traveled a fascinating path through the mysteries of the Holy Grail and Atlantis. But now, it is time to elevate our perspective and contemplate these revelations through a transcendental lens. For these enigmas are not mere historical curiosities, they are windows into a deeper understanding of our existence and our place in the cosmos. Consider for a moment the interconnection of everything we have explored. The sacred lineage of the Grail, the lost civilization of Atlantis, the universal flood. What if all these elements were part of a grand cosmic tapestry, a divine plan that has been unfolding throughout time? Allow me to present a perspective that could fundamentally change the way we see our reality, cosmic consciousness. What if the universe itself were conscious? This idea, far from being new, has been proposed by quantum physicists and philosophers alike. Imagine that all of creation, from subatomic particles to galaxies, is part of a great cosmic consciousness. In this context, the myths and legends we have explored could be manifestations of this consciousness, attempting to communicate with us across time and space. DNA as a cosmic library. Scientists have discovered that our DNA contains vast amounts of non-coding information, often called junk DNA. But what if this DNA is not junk at all, but a vast repository of cosmic information? The lineage of the Grail, the knowledge of Atlantis, could be encoded in our very cells, waiting to be activated. The evolution of consciousness. Contemplate the possibility that human history is not a linear progression, but a cycle of rise and fall of consciousness. Atlantis could represent a previous peak of conscious evolution, destroyed not only by a physical cataclysm, but by a collapse of consciousness. Are we now on the threshold of another evolutionary leap in our collective consciousness? Parallel realities. Quantum physics has shown us that reality is much stranger than we imagine. What if the myths we've explored are not just stories of the past, but windows to parallel realities? The Holy Grail, Atlantis, may exist simultaneously on different planes of reality, accessible through altered states of consciousness. Cosmic synchronicity. Carl Jung spoke of synchronicity, seemingly unrelated events that have profound meaning when considered together. What if all of human history is a great synchronicity, a cosmic pattern designed to lead us to a collective awakening? Now, My brave companions, I ask you to consider these transcendental questions. What if we could consciously access the information encoded in our DNA? Could we unlock abilities and knowledge we didn't even know we possessed? If we are part of a larger cosmic consciousness, how does that change our understanding of life, death, and our purpose in the universe? Could it be that the gods of antiquity, the advanced beings of Atlantis, were actually future versions of ourselves, communicating through time and space? If reality is malleable and multiple timelines exist, could we consciously influence the course of history and our collective future? These questions may seem abstract, but they have profound and practical implications for our lives. If we are part of a cosmic consciousness, every action, every thought impacts the whole. The quest for the Grail, the knowledge of Atlantis, then become not mere historical curiosities, but keys to our own awakening and evolution. My dear truth seekers, I invite you to contemplate these ideas with an open mind and a receptive heart. For at the intersection of science, spirituality, and ancient mysteries, we might find the answers we seek not only about our past, but about our destiny as a species and our connection to the cosmos. Remember, the deepest truth is not found outside of us, but within. Each of you carries within you the spark of this cosmic consciousness, the potential to awaken to a broader and more transcendent reality. And it is through exploring these mysteries, questioning the established, and daring to imagine the impossible that we can activate that potential. As we move toward the conclusion of our journey, I ask you to keep this transcendental perspective in mind, because it is through this lens that we can begin to glimpse the true nature of our reality and our place in the grand cosmic tapestry. My brave companions in this search for truth, we have traveled together a fascinating path through ancient mysteries and astonishing revelations. But now, it is time to bring all this knowledge to a more personal level and reflect on how these truths can transform our everyday lives. First, consider the Holy Grail and the idea of the sacred lineage. Beyond historical fascination, what does this mean for each of us? Reflect on this. What if each of us carries a spark of divinity within, regardless of our ancestry? How would this change the way we treat ourselves and others? The concept of the Grail as sacred knowledge invites us to ask, what ancestral wisdom do we carry within that we have yet to awaken? How might we access this inner knowledge? Now let's think about Atlantis and the universal flood. These stories of lost civilizations and great cataclysms may seem distant, but they hold vital lessons for our present. In a world facing climate and social crises, how can we learn from past mistakes to create a more sustainable future? If the Atlanteans could disperse their knowledge in the face of catastrophe, what knowledge and skills do we consider essential to preserve and pass on to future generations? The idea of cosmic consciousness and parallel realities may seem abstract, but it has practical applications in our lives. How would our interaction with the world change if we saw every action as part of a larger cosmic pattern? In what ways might we access our higher self or more evolved versions of ourselves in other realities to guide our decisions? I invite you to deeply reflect on these questions. What patterns or synchronicities have you noticed in your life that could be signs of a deeper connection with the cosmos? How can you incorporate the quest for truth and esoteric knowledge into your daily life? What practices or habits could you adopt to expand your consciousness? If you could access all the knowledge and wisdom of your ancestors, how would this change your decisions and actions in the present? In what ways can you be a guardian of knowledge in your own life? How can you preserve and transmit valuable wisdom to your loved ones and future generations? Remember, my dear seekers, that the true power of this knowledge does not reside in its mere accumulation, but in its practical application in our lives. Each of you has the potential to be a living grail, a vessel of divine wisdom and a beacon of light for others. I encourage you to take time to meditate on these revelations, to integrate them into your being. Observe how your perception of the world and yourself changes. Pay attention to synchronicities, moments of sudden clarity and unexpected connections that arise in your life. And above all, remember that this journey of discovery does not end here. Every day is an opportunity to unravel new mysteries, to deepen your understanding of the cosmos and your place within it. Keep your minds open, your hearts receptive, and your inquisitive spirit always alert. Because in the end, the deepest truth, the most valuable grail, lies within each of you, waiting to be discovered and shared. My brave truth seekers, we have reached the end of this fascinating journey through the deepest mysteries of our existence. But remember, this is not an end but a new beginning, a starting point for an even deeper and more personal exploration of the truths we have discovered together. Now more than ever, the world needs inquisitive minds like yours, people who dare to question the established, to look beyond the surface, and to share their discoveries with others. That is why I make this call to action. Deepen your personal quest. Investigate more about the topics that resonated most with you. Read ancient texts, study the latest scientific theories, meditate on the connections you have uncovered. Knowledge is power, and the power to change the world begins with inner change. Share your discoveries. Do not keep these truths to yourself. Discuss with friends and family, join study groups, participate in online forums. Every conversation is an opportunity to spark curiosity in others. Apply this knowledge in your daily life. Observe the world through this new transcendental lens. Look for synchronicities, hidden patterns, cosmic connections in your everyday life. Stay connected with our community. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Turn on notifications to not miss any of our future revelations. Visit our website for additional resources and discussion forums. Be catalysts for change. Use this knowledge to make the world a better place, whether through art, science, technology, or simply by being a living example of expanded consciousness. Remember, each of you is a guardian of truth, a bearer of the Grail of knowledge. You have the power to illuminate the shadows of ignorance and awaken others to the wonders of the cosmos. In our next episode, we will delve even further into the mysteries of the universe, exploring topic of the next episode. Don't miss it. Until then, my dear seekers, keep your minds open, your hearts brave, and your inquisitive spirits always alert. For the greatest truth is yet to be discovered, and it could be you who reveals it to the world. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Until next time, and remember, the truth is out there, waiting to be discovered by those who dare to seek it. This is Dr. Alejandro Vega, signing off until our next encounter with the mysteries of the cosmos.